I have the honor of introducing today's speaker, Indiana University Police Department's Chief of Police, Chief Jill Lees. Lees is a UA alumna, graduated from the IU Police Academy in 1994, and the following year began working as a patrol officer within the Plainfield Police Department in Indiana. She progressed through the ranks during her 23-year career at the Plainfield Police Department, from patrol, juvenile officer, support services sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and deputy chief of the support branch. Lees retired from the Plainfield Police just days before beginning her new leadership role at IUPD Bloomington. As chief, she provides leadership, direction, and oversight for all enforcement functions on the campus. She maintains an active presence in the community she serves and is highly admired by the utility team. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today, Chief Lees. And with that introduction, I think I'll go ahead and get started with the most obvious question. Please describe your experience being a woman in the law enforcement industry and why you decided to join.
Wow. Yeah, I read that first question that you sent and I thought, there's a long story there. There's a long story, but to tell kind of the abbreviated version of that, when I was in high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I was in athletics and I was a decent student, and a teacher recognized in me that I would enjoy the state police career camp to learn about law enforcement. Mm-hmm. So when I went to that camp, it was like the light bulb went on, like, this is what I want to do. And I knew it was a male dominated field, obviously at that time, but at that camp, there were women in law enforcement counselors. There were state troopers and other city officers that were counselors there. Mm-hmm. So I felt really comfortable, like, well, if they can do it, I can do it, right? So I came to IU, Indiana University, as a student just for our cadet program. I wanted to explore that and learn about law enforcement and go to the police academy here to see if this was something I really wanted to do. And I loved it. We have a tradition here at IU. We have a lot of female cadets and recruits that go through the academy. So it was very comfortable, very commonplace, even long time ago, over almost 28 years ago, to have a lot of women near you, okay. In training with. And, I think that really, I knew it was a male dominated field, but I wanted to do it. And I really enjoyed having to be like physically fit, as well as, do different psychomotor skills, like, firearms and driving, and how you could ride a police bicycle. And that really appealed to me. And I think the biggest appeal is actually helping the community. Mm-hmm. If you can make one difference in the life of someone in the community during your career, and I know most police officers do that over and over and over, almost daily, that is where the true inspiration comes of wanting to be in this job. I've had some, worked alongside some great men and women that have really had the same mindset of that service to the community. And I think that's why I've been in this job almost 28 years.
Mm-hmm. That is really, really powerful. I think you probably owe a lot to that professor for kind of nudging you in that direction there. That worked out perfectly for you. I mean, not very often do people know their passions from such a young age. So that is really great. And I'm really interested in that the whole learning of the bicycle as well. I mean, if you have any time, I'd love for you to teach me, if that's within your capacity, of course. But yes, dedication to your community is a must. And I'm glad that you're able to kind of exercise both that as well as your other interests as well in that career. That is great, actually. In your opinion, what value do women uniquely provide in the law enforcement industry?
I think we are really good in that community engagement aspect of it. I know for me in my personal path in law enforcement, I was a DARE officer. So I taught 6th grade for, probably about 23 years of teaching kids to stay away from, drugs and alcohol, and being that school resource officer in the classroom with kids. I think that, that women are really good at those kind of roles. I think we're really good communicators. I was the hostage negotiation commander of our team for many, many years, probably the commander almost 15 years and negotiator for almost 20. You have to have really good communication skills to talk to all different kinds of individuals in crisis to try to help them. And I think that, you know, that is a skill that I have is effectively communicating with people, as well as in my role when I was a public information officer on television all the time, having to, you know, share a story and be able to, you know, express to the news media what occurred and, you know, kind of be able to do that in a way that's understandable and succinct for their news stories. And I think a lot of times women make good writers. I mean, a lot of, you know, and you can't generalize, just say men are not good at this or are good at this and women vice versa. But, you know, I think, you know, we tend to be pretty thorough and good writers as well as communicators to writing police reports and probable causes. And, you know I work among some amazing women at IUPD that are awesome investigators. So it's kind of the fine tooth combing and detailing of cases and finding leads. So I think we play a great variety of roles, and I think we definitely want to represent our community because at least half our community are women or females. So we definitely have those abilities to kind of bring more of the caring, protective side of the community, which is very helpful a lot of times in crisis situations. I mean, also dealing with victims as well.
Definitely. I think notwithstanding, when you're in your role within law enforcement, you definitely want to be identified for what your main duty is, your role, your dedication to your community in that way. But I think also you shouldn't have to dissociate from who you are, you know, what you genuinely bring to the table. And you are right. A lot of females definitely stand out in whatever profession that they choose because we are such effective communicators. And it definitely works out for law enforcement, where that is definitely important to ensure we can convey the information as well as reach those areas in our community and speak to them effectively. So yes, very important, very important. And I'm glad that we uniquely provide that asset. Irreplaceable for sure. What challenges have you faced in your role as a woman in law enforcement? And how have you overcome those challenges?
There's always a lot of challenges. It doesn't matter. You know, again, I've worked along some amazing men in my career, and I still do here at IUPD, and we all have challenges. I think law enforcement is just challenging in nature. And it's about lifting each other up and helping each other along the way. You know, I've been turned down for promotions in my career. You know, I've not been selected for different things or different trainings. And I don't look at myself as being, I was not selected because I was a woman, but I think my favorite word is always opportunity. And you can ask anyone here in this building, they will tell you, what's the chief's favorite word? It's opportunity. And a lot of times through obstacles comes opportunity. So sometimes you either have to make your own opportunity, or sometimes when a door closes, another one opens for you, as in the case of me being back here at IUPD as the chief of police. So, you know, again, I think it's so important to have people that you look up to, that you can talk to, that you can help. I know for women, we have a hard time with push-ups, to be honest, when it comes to physical fitness. And I just remember before the police academy, doing my best and just take your weakness and make it your strength.
Right.
And that's what I do now as the chief, is I can talk to these new recruits going into the academy and actually saying, I was in your shoes here at IUPD, you know, a long time ago in 1994. So I can easily try to get them motivated to do maybe what's something they struggle with. You know, men struggle with physical fitness sometimes too in different areas than push-ups, but usually they have no problem with that part, right? So, you know, it's kind of it. We all have different struggles, and we all have to make our journey our own path. And a lot of times we really need to band together and reach out to each other to help each other get to which direction we want to head. There's so many paths and careers in law enforcement. And I think it's so important that we just all work together as one team.
I agree with you, definitely. When you look at law enforcement, I mean, it's such a huge field nowadays. There's so many people, and there are even more roles that are being created as we go along, more needs that are being filled. And that's always a great thing to see, being able to kind of look at opportunity, as you said, and being able to assess the situation, look at the strengths and see what is needed in the community, and then being able to help in that way. I think once we're in that path, it's always great. So I like your approach when it comes to being a woman in law enforcement, where someone may look at certain challenges as like a probably, maybe, I don't know, an attack on gender or being a woman, but you look at it as an opportunity. So I like that positive look on how things are, instead of like a victim mentality. You look at it as an opportunity. And I think that's inspiring, to really be able to see things in a positive light. No matter what's thrown at you, you kind of be like, all right, I'm just going to be able to deflect it no matter what. It's good.
And absolutely. And just a really quick story to give you an example, back in the 90s, I wanted to be on SWAT. Like, I wanted to be on the entry team. I wanted to kick doors down. And one of the physical fitness requirements back then is to bench press your body weight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really good for women, especially women as tall as I am, or, like weigh a little bit more. So I took that as not a failure, but that's when I directed all my energy in being on the negotiation team. And I've been very blessed with that opportunity and a lot of success on many successful negotiations that I did, that I affected the outcome. So that's where you really have to look at things in a positive light. And a lot of times when people fail, it's because they can't get past that. They just can't look at, okay, this door closed, but which other path can I do? What else can I learn? And law enforcement is definitely a lifelong learning career in general, but to specialize and pick a different specialty and be the best at it that you can be is really positive.
So very true. So very true. As I said, I love your approach and your mentality towards those things. Just kind of being able to see the positive light and seeing, what is this teaching me, or what can I improve on? Just kind of some deep inflection, just inward. So great approach, great approach. I wish more people thought like you, for sure. Well, as of 2020, female officers comprised of about 13.1% of the population in the United States of America. What strategies do you believe should be implemented to increase the number of outstanding women recruited and retained in the force?
I think it's so important to share your story as an agency, that's inclusive toward women, because we are now, as you see, a shift in law enforcement from more of a warrior mentality to a guardian mentality. That might be more appealing to women, because if you look at, if women, all they think about is rifles and SWAT trucks and all of that, they may not be interested in that piece. But as as we've discussed a little bit, there's so much more to this career where women can really benefit and bring such amazing traits to the table, that by sharing our story as an agency about, a more guardian mindset, what we do offer, how we can retain women, because women are very family focused too. And I know there's a lot of trepidation about, well, how am I going to, be pregnant and working, or how am I going to pump breast milk once I come back from maternity leave? And it's a challenge.
Yeah.
But being more inclusive and mindful of the needs that women might have in this profession can definitely, I think, really attract more women. And I know states are looking at having more of a non-residential academy to be more mindful of people and recruits that have families of their own that they need to take care of at night. So I know across the country, recruitment and retention is a huge struggle,
Yes,
overall, but we want more women in this profession. And a lot of times they're not applying.
Mhm.
And we want them to apply more. And I think with the initiatives that NALI, the National Association of Women in Law Enforcement Executives have rolled out in conjunction with the 30 by 30 initiative of trying to get more women recruited by 2030, and having those policies in place around that so women feel comfortable working at a law enforcement agency.
Definitely. You said previously how much of an asset women are uniquely to the force, and so much is needed in terms of providing a focus and providing a welcoming environment for women to feel comfortable to approach the industry and see how it will benefit them, as well as how they can benefit their community with their unique contributions. So I believe that if more institutions and agencies kind of jump on the table to be like, all right, how are we presenting ourselves to women, and how can we be of a mutual beneficial relationship with women? Once those conversations are had more often, I think definitely can be a force to be reckoned with if we have a lot more women on the forces, for sure. I'd love to see that. Did you have a female mentor in your career coming up, and how did they help to impact you today?
I've had several. So going back to 1989, when I was at the State Police Career Camp, I met a state trooper who was a counselor there.
Mhm.
And she became my mentor, and we've kept in touch for, gosh, so many years, right? Over 30 years. So, we check in with each other, and she still works as a major with the Indiana State Police. And hi, Nyla. So I have to give her a shout out. But I think having a mentor is so important, not just in the bad times, but in the good times. When I was at IUPD as a cadet officer, one of my mentors was Lori Flint, and she's actually the chief that I replaced here at IUPD. When you talk about the percentage of women in law enforcement, as you look at the executive ranks, it's even much, much less. It's like 3 to 5% are in the higher ranks of a police agency. And for me to know and feel comfortable with an officer when I was a student learning to be an officer, and then coming back and replacing her as the chief, knowing that she still works here on the campus and supports me, I've been very blessed with that. And I cannot tell you how important it is that I tell our young cadets and our part-time officers how important it is to have a mentor, and also how important it is to network when you go to training and meet women from other police agencies, or just officers in general from other police agencies, because networking alone in law enforcement is really important to me, because people can really help you succeed. Again, I think sometimes we get caught up in our own weaknesses and problems and what we're facing, but talking to other people can really lift us up and help us get that motivation we need to get to the next level. So that's why I feel that one of my main responsibilities as chief here is to mentor all officers we have on staff, but really those cadet officers and the women cadet officers, because they ask a lot of questions about my journey, and I'm able to sit here and say, I was in your shoes and I did it. I became the chief with a lot of work and effort. So, and it wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect, but this is where I think it gives them a sense of hope that they can accomplish the same things I've done in my career.
Yes, yes, yes to all of that. I think it's so very important that as women, even young girls coming up, they're able to kind of see themselves, out there. They can see someone like you in your position, Chief Lees, and be like, okay, maybe I could be like her. Maybe I could take on law enforcement. Maybe I could do exactly like she did, or come up against there. But if you don't have that representation, it's kind of hard for you to even imagine or to ponder that as a possibility for someone. So I think it's great that you first were able to identify that you yourself needed a mentor. And she did an excellent job. I'm sure she must be so proud of you and your accomplishments. And then for you to be able to mentor the next generation, it's a great thing for me to hear. And I'm sure it's a great feeling for you to be able to kind of pass on all that you've learned and kind of nurture the next generation to, pass a torch. And so it can continue in that endless cycle, because we need lots of outstanding women in the force. We have them, but in order for them to move up the ranks, as you said, we need to have more of those mentorships and those connections going on. So I'm glad that you are fostering that. It's great to hear, for sure. And I'm hopeful for your department. If your department is the beacon for so many other departments, only great can come of that, for sure. So continue doing what you guys are doing. That's excellent work.
Thank you so much. And one of the things that they keep me young, and it pushes me to stay in shape, because as the chief, I go out and do PT with them during the academy. So if the chief can run 5 miles, you better get your butt going too. So I try to really motivate in many different ways, because I would never ask anybody to do something that I wouldn't do. And I think that's important as a leader to do that. So it's really fun. It keeps me young. So it's a benefit for me, even in my stage of my career, as it is for them, trying to help them navigate this, do they want to stay in law enforcement, or do they want to work at IUPD when they graduate, or where do they want to go? Because with my networking, I do a lot of career counseling for them as well.
Right. I'm glad that you are stretching yourself to be that resource, because I know it's not easy, because you are chief of police, so you have so many obligations just with that role. So for you to just give of yourself so selflessly, commendable. And I've heard so much about those sides of you from the utility team. I said, no, I have to reach out to her, got to speak to her, because you're doing some amazing things, and I wanted to shed light on that. Okay. Segueing from that question, what advice would you give to women who are new in the law enforcement careers? Brand new, just brand spanking new advice.
Well, I'm right now meeting with our cadets that are getting ready to go to the academy.
Super.
Some of the things, just a few of the things that I've told them is be prepared. Preparation is key to any success. To know that you need to work as a unit and as a team, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. So lift others up and help those that might be struggling. Another one is be a leader. We are all an informal leader, but during the academy, if the major asks for a volunteer, step up, be that person that steps up. There's so many times I see the same individual that they're awesome, but get outside your comfort zone and step up and be a leader, and that will help you as you navigate your career. And then have confidence in yourself. Have confidence in the abilities that you can, and what you can do and what you can achieve. And every day is a new day. And I can say this for the academy specifically, but really in life in general. You have a bad day at work one day, hit the reset button. Don't bring that baggage back to you the next day. Every day is a new day. Every day is a chance to do something good. We all have very bad days when we deal with trauma out in the field. And we can always kind of reset that and be able to start fresh again. So if you have a bad day at the range, or if you have a bad day in the classroom or on the job, don't take that with you, process it, but then start each day fresh.
Yes, I agree. I'm glad that you're in the position that you are to kind of just take the wings and give these cadets some great advice that I'm sure they need to hear. So that is great advice. Definitely just stepping outside of yourself, stepping outside of your comfort zone, and doing what needs to be done. And that's the essence of just being successful, I believe, in law enforcement, because once you're able to kind of get outside of your mind and look at the bigger picture, I think that's a great mindset to have. So it's great that you're instilling them with those values at an early stage. Let's see. The last question I had for you, I can't believe my conversation with you is almost over. I've been enjoying it so much. What role do men and the government play in improving the representation and experiences of women in policing?
A lot of times they're the policymakers. So creating those family-friendly policies that are attractive to women. Also allowing women to have a seat at the table when decisions are being made. I think that's very important, that to be inclusive to women when, you know, the head of the agency or the city or whatever is going to make decisions about women. I think it's really important policy-wise to have that wellness policy or program in place in the agency, because I think that really makes healthier, happier officers when given the opportunity to, you know, work out on duty, you know, do different mindfulness or different things, initiatives that we do on our wellness team here at IUPD that can really help build a well-rounded officer. And I just think that, you know, not discounting that women are really important to an organization, and how can, you know, we help them succeed as well. Where looking at becoming members of NOLI, sending women to, you know, Women's Leadership Institutes that's put on by the IACP, being able to help women in their quest for rising the ranks of an organization, and being inclusive with that.
Definitely. There is so much to be done. So much has been done, but we can't stop there, I must say. For your cadets, when you were coming up, to have a sizable amount of women in there, that's great. Perfect. I love to hear that, because I know that it wasn't that way prior to that. I've heard other stories where they were probably one of, I don't know, a small amount of the cadets team that they were there. So improvement has been made, I feel, but much more can be done. And I know that government, as well as men who are in positions of power, definitely need to have these conversations along with women, so that our voices and these issues can be heard and we can make strides, make some improvements for sure. Chief Lees, it's been a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much for spending time with me to discuss these issues. I really do appreciate speaking with you, hearing about your contributions, and I feel very hopeful speaking with you, because this discussion, I know that it is Women's History Month, but I also wanted to shed light on our females who are making positive strides within the law enforcement industry, because we do cater to first responders here at Utility. And I've heard so much, and it's been a pleasure to really recap on what you've done and what you continue to do for your community. I just wanted to say thank you from the Utility team. It's been a pleasure to speak with you. You have a great rest of your day, okay?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.